If you're doing just circle prospecting and you're converting at 2%, that's phenomenal. Like 100 contacts to 2 leads is great. So that was like my conversion with circle prospecting. But now my conversion, when I talk to ISA leads, the leads that the ISAs curate for me, my conversion is 45%.
All right, folks, I got a really good one for you today. Great case study. We're going to drill down and see, what's working, for this real estate agent. We've got Torrey Drake here, has been working with us for a few months, and he's here to talk about his business and how he's knocking it out of the park with his ISA team. So, Torrey, why don't you give people a little bit of an intro, who you are, what's your market, and why did you hire ISAs? Go for it, man.
Yeah, so I'm in the Denver, Colorado market. I'm a traditional real estate agent in the sense that my main bread and butter is helping people buy and sell homes, with listings being my main focus. I've done years of outbound prospecting on my own. I actually really enjoy it. With circle prospecting, expireds, FSBOs, and I just like circle prospecting the most because the leads are the highest quality. You get less leads, but they convert, the conversion's much higher, less competition. And it just dawned on me that I was like, man, it takes me like 100 people to get 2, right? 100 conversations to get 2 leads. I was like, how interesting would it be if I could have an ISA or have someone, I didn't have the terminology yet, have someone call through those 100 to find the 2, 3, 5, 10 that are open to a conversation. And then I just talk to those people and see if I can convert them. So that was the initial hypothesis of what would make hiring an ISA worth it. And oh my gosh, it's super, super worth it. And it's been phenomenal.
Awesome. Yeah. So, and that's great because I wish more people would at least give circle prospecting a try. I think it's phenomenal that you've built your business on that, and that you've actually go out and talk to people, because you're right.
Yeah,
If you can stick with it, right?
for sure.
Circle prospect, you actually have to build genuine connection. There's no expired conversation, elephant in the room. There's no FSBO, tension in the conversation. None of that.
So easy.
It's
So
just
easy.
having a conversation with someone, right?
Yeah.
And just and building a genuine connection on someone you're talking to that day, like 100%.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But most agents don't have the patience. Well, maybe they don't like to talk to people, maybe they don't. But they don't have the patience to see it through because it takes a little bit of time. The soonest you're going to see results, maybe 3-4 months in, you'll get results. You get listings, you'll get clients. But people really don't do it that way. So I love that. I love that because and like you said, that leverage lever, on circle prospecting is high, man.
Dude, I was
save a lot of time.
I was so scared to let go of expireds, but dude, it's just, oh my God. Even if you get an expired lead, if unless you close to the appointment that day, which is challenging, you have to follow up for the appointment. And even if you get permission to follow up, getting them back on the phone is almost impossible. Even if you're following up with them on their agreed upon timeline. But circle prospecting, I don't think of it, you have months, if not years, to build a relationship with them, to stay in touch with them. And so the conversion is just so much easier. All my appointments where they reach out to me to like, hey, we're ready to list, and they invite me over, that's always circle prospecting. Expireds, never. Very rare, very, very rarely. Like I've had to happen like 1 or 2 times. But put some context behind like what the ISAs are doing, like circle prospecting. For those who don't know, if you're converting at a 2% level, if you're doing just circle prospecting and you're converting at 2%, that's phenomenal. Like 100 contacts to 2 leads is great. So that was like my conversion with circle prospecting. But now my conversion, when I talk to ISA leads, the leads that the ISAs curate for me, my conversion is 45%. So
wow. Okay.
It's wild.
Whoa. Hold the phone like that, because that's the kind of productivity gain you're looking for, right?
It's crazy.
It's a 20x difference.
It's
right?
insane. It's crazy.
You're because your time, your time's valuable, and for people that have never gone through this exercise, take the amount of GCI you make in a year and divide it by your hours work. That's your hourly rate. Okay. That's your hourly rate. Would you rather spend that time making those 100 conversations to get 1 or 2 leads? Or would you rather spend that time talking to the 2 leads and converting one of them into a solid seller that wants to work, actually wants to work with you, right? Because they have that personal connection. It's crazy, that difference. And you put it into numbers, man. So you know your numbers. You went from 2% conversion rate on your personal time to 45% conversion rate because you're calling hand raisers. You're calling potential qualified leads.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people, because I watch your interviews and I know everyone does ISAs a little bit differently, what the purpose of how they call, who they call. So for those watching, my ISAs, the script is better than this, obviously, but they're literally calling to ask, do you have any plans to sell in 2 years? And will you hop on a phone call with Tori tomorrow morning? Obviously, every call is a little different. The script is better than that, but that's the meat of what they're going for. If the person says, yes, I have motivation, yes, I'll talk to Tori, they send that over as an ISA lead. That's not the 45% I'm talking about. Then I call them the next day. And then I then qualify them to find out if the motivation is real, like not just, oh, if I get an amazing price, but real motivation. They are not committed to an agent. They're open to interviewing me, and they gave me their email if they didn't give it to my ISA. And they gave me permission to follow up in the future. If they meet those 5 pieces of criteria, I count them as a lead, and that's so 45% of
I
the
love it.
people they send over, they find the hand raisers, 45% of the hand
I
raisers
got
they
you.
send over converts to a
And,
lead.
and your conversations would take a lot of
Yeah.
conversations to get one of those. Now it takes essentially two conversations to get one of those.
Oh yeah,
That
it's
big difference,
crazy.
and that's what you call a qualified lead. That's when you've already
Correct.
spoken to. And you're like, okay, this person's real. This person's legit.
Right.
They're gonna be
Yeah.
selling sometime in the future. I'm now gonna play the follow up game. I'm
Totally.
gonna stick with them and build that
Yeah.
relationship, and build it towards like a come list me, which is those are the best.
Yeah.
Like those are the
You know
great
what's even
ones.
crazier is I didn't track this metric. I wasn't going to track this metric. I didn't think a lot of people who have these timelines of 6 months, a year, 2 years. But if the motivation's there, at first I wasn't going for an appointment. There's a listing consultation where we're selling the house, and there's a preview appointment where it's like, hey, let me walk through the home. I'll give you some more information, maybe give you a pricing report. I wasn't at first. The first month I was not asking for that preview appointment because I was thinking like I wouldn't say yes to that, and so I was like, I don't know if they would. And I was like, you know what? Let's just track it and see how many people actually say yes to a preview appointment and it's the people who say yes to an appointment is 40% of the leads. So 45%
Gotcha,
of the
gotcha,
people
gotcha.
turn into a lead, and 40% of the leads say yes to
To a
inviting me
preview
over
appointment.
to an appointment. So
Again,
that's
and it's
wild.
not a come list me. It's like they want, they're selling the future, but they're saying, you know what, come and take a look.
Yep.
Let
Yep.
me know what you think about the place. So,
Yeah.
Tori, I love that so much because I'm a really true believer in that really famous NAR statistic that says like two-thirds of
Oh
people
yeah.
are going to work with the first agent they meet. Like not the
100%.
first agent that calls them, not
Yeah.
the first agent that texts them or
100%.
emails them.
Yeah.
No, 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 no.
Yeah.
The first agent they physically meet with.
Oh
So
my
I'm
gosh.
always
Yeah.
telling agents the game is to how quickly can you get in front of them. Oh, but
Totally.
Gus, they're selling 6 months down. Meet them tomorrow. If they're willing to
Yeah.
say yes, meet them tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely,
do it,
man.
right? Because I
Yeah.
think that metric is correct. And I love that you
Yeah.
got to that conclusion like 100%.
It's crazy.
If
Yeah.
they're a year out, I'd be with them anyway. Like go
Yeah.
take a look at the property because now I this is mine now. Like this is my
Yeah.
listing. I'm
Yeah.
feeling it that way, and I'm gonna keep following up to make sure with that. But I'm no longer a number on their phone, right? Like, oh, crazy
Totally.
realtor.
Yep.
No, no, no. I am now a face.
The guy that
I am
met.
now
Yeah.
someone, yeah, that presented that value to them in person. You kidding me? That's
It's
golden. I love
completely
that.
it completely changes it. And then something you can't a metric I can't give you, but it's just so prominent on these calls is the level there's no it's hard to explain this one. The level of respect the prospect has for you when this phone call was set up by somebody who works for you.
Oh,
I
cool.
It's crazy, dude. Like the people, once again, even if you get a good lead from the first contact, there's still a little bit of like they're a little skeptical. Anyone who's on calls knows that. I don't explain it. You know what it feels like. You
Yeah.
know that's there, but that is like pretty much gone because they said yes to a phone call from you. You call them and you're like, hey, for me, I own my own team under a brokerage. I did that intentionally so I could say, hey, it's Tori, the owner of the Voyage Group, da 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 da, in the introduction, and their level of respect for you skyrockets.
Gotcha.
I
That's very
can't give
cool.
you a number for it, but the conversations
Yeah.
are just completely different, and you can feel the level of respect that's there.
I gotcha because you've got a team. You're the
Yeah,
owner. It's like a better experience, right? Like a higher class experience. You're
yeah,
elevating it. They feel elevated,
totally.
right? So I
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that. That's a really good
Oh,
point.
yeah. I had a guy who has a $3 million new build property that's probably worth well $3 million. Who I was like on the first call with him, he said yes to a preview appointment. I've already met the guy. I was there for like an hour, so we sat at the kitchen table and talked forever. And my first phone call with him, I was like, hey, setting up the appointment, cool. By the way, I'll send a resume over, and he was like, oh yeah, feel free to send the resume over, but I mean, clearly you know what you're doing. You got guys calling for you, so I mean, no big deal there. And it was just like, dude. Like it was just
Like,
already there, you know?
yeah, like yeah, high net individuals, like I mean, they'll notice those things, all right?
Yeah. Yeah.
A high net person, maybe another business owner, right? Like, oh, okay,
Mhm.
oh, you got people power. You've got
Yeah.
not every agent. I mean, next to
Yeah.
no agents have that. Like, it's
Yeah.
like I wish I had 1% of the market, Tori. I don't even
Oh
have
my
like a
gosh.
tenth of the market, right? So, 100%. It's
Yeah.
definitely something that can set you apart, and you're
Yeah.
and you're presenting yourself that way, right? You're
Yeah.
you're like writing that and like going for it and just owning that persona, which
Mhm.
makes it happen, makes it work, right?
Yeah.
But let's get down to those numbers. I mean,
Yeah.
what kind of if you were to you know your numbers, you track them really closely.
Mhm.
What kind of tangible results have you gotten from having ISAs call for you?
Yeah. So I've got my spreadsheet here. I touched a few of them already. But I do have, so I hired, it's March of 2025 right now, or May of 2025. I started ISAs in February. Didn't really get the ball rolling and have my systems dialed in until honestly March. So like 2 to 3 months here. And I have one listing on the market.
Nice.
One of them called and they're like, "Hey, do you want to sell this house?" And they were like, "Yes, we're selling this in a year or two, but we need to sell a condo now." And then so I'm listing that I have that condo listed now. Um, I have about two other listings. We're getting ready to hit the market in the next month or two from
Love it.
them, and then I have two off-market deals from people who are trying to sell to an investor. Like it's just a terrible property
Yeah.
and bad condition. They don't want to list it on the market, but they do want to sell it. And so I don't
Gotcha.
have those sellers under contract on anything right now, but we're working on some numbers with investors. And those two, I'd be very surprised if they didn't close. So it's all beginning stages of things, as
Gotcha.
far as tangible, actual active listings or anything like that. But I'm looking at my tracker here. They've brought in 65 qualified leads, which once again is after I speak to them and qualify them.
I got you
Um,
guys. So that's a very impressive number because I'd have to
yeah,
pass your bar. Like, 65 people went through that process. They probably
yeah,
handed off about 120, 130. Like, okay, great.
yeah,
These are 65 are quality, and I'm gonna work with these, and I'm gonna be following up with them.
yeah,
You're gonna put them through their process, and I'm already thinking about what people are asking right in their mind.
yeah,
Tori, what is that process? So you tell us a bit more on the back end. So they come
dude,
in,
yeah.
I say hands them off to you. You connect with them. Is that same day, next day? Is it a booked appointment? You just call them the next day?
Yeah. So such a process guy. So I'm happy to talk through this in nitty-gritty detail. And if anyone wants to reach out to me, feel free to do it. Tori at
Love it.
torreydrake.com. I'll hop on a call with you and walk you through all of it. Because I'm just such a believer in all. It's crazy. The numbers, if you look at them, they're just insane. So the process. So step number one, they call and they basically in their own in better words saying, "Hey, do you want to sell? Do you want to talk to Tori?" If they say yes to those questions within the Mojo dialer, they click a button that sends them over to Follow Up Boss, which is my CRM. And
Love
then
it.
from there, I don't want to get too nitty gritty into the details of Follow Up Boss because not everyone watching this may use it. But what
Yeah.
happens after that is I call them the next day.
Mhm.
And there's an action plan that automatically goes into play that sets up across 14 days about 9 pieces of follow-up calls and to until I get on track with them. And I did have like 9 calls and 7 texts, but I learned really quickly if you send a lot of texts that go unanswered, your number can get marked as spam.
Right.
And so once I took those texts out, my pickup rate skyrocketed again.
Love it.
So as far as a really high level system, once they send them over, I call them the next morning. I don't have them set up a time. It's just sometime in the morning. If
Perfect.
they don't pick up, I have about 9 follow-ups over 14 days. If after 14 days I do not reach them, they're just ghosting me really, really well. Then they go into a different folder in my CRM where they get a quarterly call from me every quarter just to touch base.
Gotcha.
There's a lot more
Gotcha.
nitty-gritty stuff in there, but as far as
I love
the
it.
the actual just meat and potatoes of it, it's pretty much honestly that simple.
And you know, and you're connecting with these folks. About
Yeah.
45% are going to become a qualified lead. 40% of those you're going to meet with, you know, face to face, like right off
Yeah.
the bat. For the
Yeah.
people you talk to, is that, and then what's the nurturing process look like? Is it like a
Yeah.
monthly check-in? Is it like
Hmm.
content based? Is it you just making calls to them? What is that long term? Because I think that's where
Yeah.
people, you know, a lot of them just drop the ball there. Like they
Yeah.
can have a lot of really good initial conversations, but
Yeah.
you know, it's that's not enough. You got to keep
Yeah.
at it, right?
Yeah, no, it's not enough. So my follow-up system is pretty simple. It's I have a weekly email that goes out to everybody. That does a lot of the legwork right there. I
Love it.
said every qualified lead gets set up on a search in their neighborhood for properties similar to theirs for actives, pendings, and closeds. And
Love
anytime something happens in their neighborhood, I'll email that over to them. And if it's really similar to them, I'll email it and send them a text like, hey, this property on your street, few doors down, just listed. It's this. And so and then if it closed, I'm like, hey, it closed in 32 days. Oh my gosh, it closed in 3 days over asking price. That's good for the neighborhood. And then whatever they tell me to follow up in, if they're like, yeah, give me a call back in like 3 months or 6 months, I cut that in half and I give them a call just to touch base, see if it makes sense to set up an appointment. If I talk to them, great. Or if I don't reach them, I just call them again when they told me to follow up with them. And that's pretty much it. I don't if someone's a year out, I don't do monthly calls, or if they're 2 years out, I don't do monthly calls. I just keep them updated on the neighborhood in my weekly email.
I love that. Okay, that's awesome. That's great. You know, because you know you're coming to them not with like the typical touch and base, checking in, how's it
Oh yeah,
going?
no, I hate,
That's a
yeah,
very you focused. That's about you. Like, hey,
yeah,
you know, give me value to me. No. You're
yeah,
approaching them with value. Like, hey, I
yeah,
found this really interesting property. You might want to take a look at it. It's a completely different conversation
yeah,
than this annoying realtor keeps calling me for no apparent reason, right? So yeah,
yeah,
100%.
yeah.
You're
I
making it about
yeah.
them. That they care about them. They really don't care about you. You know,
No,
so which
I
is fine.
I
Perfect.
struggle with it because a lot of the old school coaches, like old school used intentionally, like oh monthly follow up or like I'm like I wouldn't want that, man. Like I
Yeah,
want to be reaching out with a reason and a purpose.
100%.
And I'll also manufacture a purpose sometimes. Like
100%.
if there's been nothing in their neighborhood, I'm like, man, this is a great lead. I have nothing to send them. I'll just text them like, hey, I've been keeping an eye on your neighborhood. I haven't seen any changes worth updating you on, but if anything does change, I'll let you know and just so they know, like I'm staying on top of it.
You got the pulse. You got the
Yeah,
pulse, right?
yeah. So
100%. I love
I'll
that.
still reach out, but I'm never just like, hey, just checking in. I don't want to do
Yeah.
those calls
It
either.
drives it drives me nuts. Like
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
not that useful. And guess what? The consumer, I mean, they know what we're doing. Like they know, they're savvy.
yeah,
This is not 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Like
yeah,
100% they know what you're up to. And they're getting bombarded with those messages, right? It's
yeah,
not just you. It's on the socials and on the
yeah,
text messages and on the email. Like you've got to do something to kind of to break through that noise. So
yeah.
Tori, you know, to kind of wrap things up here, I mean, tell me if, you know, what's the overall experience been like with the team? And if someone were to ask you, someone that was on the fence, right, about bringing on an ISA, helping them make calls the same way you're doing it, if they were on the fence about doing it, pulling the trigger, what would you say to them?
I would say that having this that not hiring an ISA is going to get you results in your business, which is phenomenal, but it's gonna instill in you a skill that is almost priceless, which is if you know how to hire one ISA, you know how to hire four, you know how to hire 10. It's something that can build upon itself and scale. If you as a realtor want to increase your calls go from 4 hours to 8 hours and you're the only one doing it, you have to put those extra 4 hours in. And if you get too busy, those hours are going to get dialed back. It's just not completely scalable. And on top of that, those extra 4 hours of calls, the quality probably won't be there because you're so burnt out on it. So having people who can create your own list of people who are expecting to hear from you, you're not only putting money, you're not only feeding your business, but you're feeding yourself a skill set that is an extremely high value skill set.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's leveraged lead generation. It's having
Hmm.
success through other people. It's like having
Yeah.
sales, like getting
Yeah.
sales through the efforts of other people.
Yeah.
100%. I think that's
Yeah.
$1,000, $10,000 an hour act. I'm not joking. That
Oh, it's
is what
great.
it's
Yeah.
worth when you
Yeah.
add leverage to your business, so you can
Yeah.
actually, you know, produce more. So I love it,
Yeah.
Tori. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you. If people want to continue the conversation, learn more about what you're doing, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Email's best. Just my name, Torrey at torreydrake.com. I am on Instagram. I only go on there once a week because it's Instagram.
Of
So
course. You're
email is the
busy,
best way to
man.
reach
You're
me.
busy closing deals, so not
Yeah.
that much time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tori. Appreciate you, man. And thanks for jumping on here.
Thank you, Gustavo. Appreciate it.